Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to a new edition of the Sports Shop 27. I'm your host, Jermaine Coulter, and today's special guest. Yes, sir. We got the CEO in the building today. He's from Colorado Springs. He represents the CWC Wrestling League. It stands for Colorado Wrestling Connection. All right. We got the CEO, Chad Kalina. What's going on,
What's going
Chad?
on? What's going on, bro? How you doing today?
I can't complain, man. Thanks for coming on the show. For everybody that don't know you, Chad, let them know where you're from and a little bit about your background.
Yeah, man. So my name is Chad Kalina. I'm the CEO and owner of Colorado Wrestling Connection out here in Colorado Springs. We've been around for about going on 2 years now. Originally from Iowa, transplanted out here about 13, 14 years ago. Got really deeply involved in the independent wrestling scene and found myself owning my own company a couple years ago. So
Oh man, congratulations! Now, how long has the CWC been around?
So going on 2 years now. Just going on 2 years now. We'll celebrate our 2 year anniversary this coming January. So
Okay. All right, so that's relevant. Now let's rewind it back a little bit. Growing up, who were some of your biggest inspirations at the time?
yeah, man. So I've always been a huge pro wrestling nerd. I've been into it ever since I was probably like 4 or 5 years. You know, some of my biggest influences at were probably like growing up watching my brother. He was a big time collegiate wrestler, and he's pretty well known in the Iowa collegiate wrestling scene. Went to state multiple times. Big time collegiate wrestler there. So he kind of put me onto pro wrestling. And then my other brother, he wasn't into collegiate wrestling as much, but he was really into like the most obscure pro wrestling he could find. So he had tapes from Japan, tapes from Mexico, all these wild promotions that I'd never seen before. And when he bestowed those on me, that really inspired me to like take my wrestling fandom to the next level. So probably my big brother Sean would be my biggest inspiration as far as growing up to be a pro wrestling promoter.
Man, that's great, man. So, growing up, did you play any sports?
I wrestled in junior high and middle school, but nothing after that, man. I was more just a fan, just kind of hanging out, doing my own thing and stuff like that. Did a lot of backyard wrestling for sure. Was definitely a big yarder, as we say in the business at the time, but no huge collegiate sports or anything like that for me. I left that to my brother.
No problem, no problem. So, growing up in high school, you said you played a little bit. Let's talk about college. Did you go into college?
Yeah, so I went to Kirkwood College out there in Cedar Rapids, Iowa for a little while. I actually studied culinary arts out there for a little while before I actually got diagnosed with like a really weird stomach issue. So whenever I'm around food for too long, I get like really sick. So I was like, man, I'm gonna have to take a different turn of pace here. So that's when I made the decision to move out to Colorado and pursue my passion for medical cannabis and got a job out here, kind of made my way through the ranks and stuff, and now I act as like a regional manager for one of the larger brands in the United States.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So, just talk about some of the things that you incur at your university. What did you like about it? What made you go there?
It was just affordable. It was close to home and stuff like that. Again, they had a lot of fun extracurricular activities going on there. So at the time, being young and into what I was into, it was a good fit for me for sure. My girl, who was significantly more intelligent than me, was going to a university up there as well, and so it made it a lot easier for us to still stay together and everything like that. So.
All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. How does the CWC happens? What year? I mean, just talk about the momentum before 2022.
Yeah, man. So really, I've been involved in the scene for probably going on 13 years now, 10 to 13 years now, on and off. I started as a ring announcer, so I would call the wrestlers to the ring, do that whole jazz, kind of work as the MC, get everybody hyped up, make sure the audience was having a good time. Transitioned that role into what we call color commentary. So similar to what good old Jim Ross does for WWE and AEW and those guys, just sat there, called the action. My commentary host or my commentary co-host, Big Guns Justin Andrews, big shout out to him. We worked very closely with a company called CSW, Colorado Springs Wrestling. And we're really closely affiliated with those guys. We've got nothing but love for them. So we use a lot of the same talent and stuff like that. But I was working for them, and at the time, there was a match that took place between Dorian Maddox Filter and Papa Lipto, one of our top luchadors here, and Dorian Maddox being one of our best big men, in my opinion, the most complete big man that has not signed with a major company yet is Dorian Maddox. But they had an insane match, man. They had just an outstanding match, and it inspired me to kind of start a little wrestling forum called the Colorado Wrestling Connection. And I wrote an article about them, kind of an expose on the match, put them over, kind of started showing where you could find all the different promotions and stuff. And the more I did that, the more I realized how much I really wanted to contribute more and more and more to the scene. And I was like, man, what more of a way to contribute than to give these guys and girls a place to work and another place to get paid and another place to hone their craft. So I sat down with my girl and I said, I got a pretty crazy idea. I don't know if you're going to support it or not. And she's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, the old Hillside Community Center, it's where I started. That's the venue that I used to host CSW during the Christopher Chavez era. He's the original owner of CSW and had since passed away, unfortunately. But he gave me my first opportunities in that venue. And so I was like, man, there's no wrestling going on there. What if we brought wrestling back to the Hillside? And she was extremely supportive about it. She knows this is my biggest passion in the world. And the rest has just been a fun ride, man.
Man, that's great to hear, man. So upon that journey, what did it teach you the most about going after what you wanted out of life as far as being a promoter? And what was your best promotion that you think you promoted as far as wrestling?
So what it taught me, man, is just like, never think that your dream is too crazy to achieve. You know what I mean? As a little punk teenager growing up in Iowa, who was really, really into medical cannabis, that's obviously very illegal in that state, and a huge pro wrestling nerd, my biggest dream at the time would have been to own my own wrestling company and to run successful cannabis business. And I'm thinking in my head as a kid, like, man, that's so far fetched. I better just go to college, do the traditional route. And that's great for a lot of people. But for some of us, like we have to take a different path and we have to kind of bet on ourselves. And, it's really, really corny, really cheesy, but old Cody Rhodes is a big inspiration of mine. How he says he became undeniable from undesirable to undeniable. I feel that a lot when he says that. I really feel like I was a rejected kid, not really that popular in high school. People just kind of tolerated me because I was kind of a funny kid. I was a goofball. I always had the bud on me. So they'd always want to hang out and party with me and stuff. But other than my really close circle of friends, nobody ever thought my dreams were feasible or achievable. And so I really just always told everybody I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to do this. And I just kept betting on myself, man. And it led me to what I'm doing today. And I'm really living my dream.
That's great, man. That's great to hear. So you get into CWC, you create that. It's just you as board members. Who else is involved? It's just you.
It's just me, my man. Just
Wow.
me. So very rare in the wrestling world that it's a solo endeavor, but it's just me. I'm very passionate about it. I do all the writing. I do all the booking. I take care of all the financials. Promoting is all me. Everything is me from the ground up. The one thing that I have a great help with is my production team. Huge shout out to Joe Vernola, Rocco McSweets, Big Guns Justin Andrews, Larry Zabisco. We've Larry Nabisco, sorry. Skylar, I'm sure I'm forgetting people, Effie, but those people really, really, really help me make the product happen. Because while I'm doing all the writing and I'm running backstage matches and everybody's in the right position and getting paid and stuff, those guys are making sure the show's going smoothly. They're doing in my opinion, some of the most important jobs in pro wrestling are commentary, ring announcing, and refereeing. And those are really thankless jobs a lot of times. So those guys help me keep it going.
Yeah. So who are some of your big time favorite ring announcers growing up?
Yeah, man. My favorite ring announcer is is Justin Roberts. I think he's one of the best ring announcers for like traditional ring announcing. But currently, man, Samantha Irving is on fire. I've never seen somebody as multi-talented as she is, and she is definitely somebody that all ring announcers should be studying. Locally, though, my guy my boy Skyler is. I let him retire me. I'm like, yo, I'm trying to step away. We actually worked an angle, me and Joe Vernola, to retire me as a ring announcer because this kid Skyler was just so good that me and him were like, we don't need to do this stuff. Let's let him have the spotlight, you know?
All right. Who's the best? Who's your favorite commentary?
For commentary, Jim Ross. You know, I'm a product of the '90s. You know, Jim Ross was my guy for sure. But when I look back and stuff like that, I love watching Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan. I think they have the best back and forth between the two. So that's what like I always try to play off of with Big Guns whenever me and him kind of work together and stuff.
Oh, okay. So, your first match, where was it located? The opening.
Man.
Talk about that day, opening up your business finally. And for everybody that's watching, make sure you subscribe. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube, share, like, comment, follow us on Spotify, Deezer, Facebook, Instagram, and also, all the other social media platforms like Twitter, X, what is known now. So talk about after you completed coming up with the business.
Yep.
Your first match, where was that located?
So our my first match that I wrestled was at a place called Sunshine Studios, and it was the only match I ever wrestled. It was a tuxedo match, total comedy match. You know what I mean? It's on YouTube, I think, if you want to look it up. It's total comedy match, nothing crazy, not a 5-star classic. More of paying homage to the stuff that like they would do back in the '80s. You know what I mean? But the first event that I ever held was at the Hillside Community Center. It's been our home since day one. We've never ran a show outside of the Hillside Community Center, and it was just titled Homecoming. It was titled Homecoming because there hadn't been a show run at the Hillside for 3 or 4, maybe even 5 years at the time. It'd been a really, really long time. So it was the homecoming of pro wrestling back to that venue, and it was really just going to be a one-off. I was like, I'm going to do this one-off. It's going to be presented by my little vlog that I'm doing, and then I'm going to just continue writing articles and stuff like that. But, man, I had this main event, and it was Marlon Bishop, Adrian Grimm, Big Filter Dorian Maddox, and Hunter Gray, 4 of the just meanest, toughest dudes on the scene. And they just put on such a show. Not that everybody didn't that night. I mean, from top to bottom, it was a super card. By all intents and purposes, it was an absolute super card. We had titles defended from various companies on the card. We had people from different promotions from all around the United States on the card. It was a super show. But that main event, man, I knew I had something when I saw the crowd react to that main event. And right when I got home that night, I started cooking on the next show.
That's what's up, man. That passion just kicked in. That's great, man. So your first match, did you sell out? Did you have a packed stadium? Did a lot of people come out?
So our venue's huge, man. So we've got an 800 seat capacity at the Hillside Community Center. So I've got a long way to go before I ever get a true sellout. But we did have a ticket sellout. You know, I printed 200 tickets, and I had to give a bunch of people like voucher tickets because we sold out of the 200, and we wanted to get more people in there. So for my expectations, we had a sellout, and we've had a good crowd ever since then. I'm really, really, really blessed with the community support for being such a young promotion. I always say to have the talent on my card and to have the amount of people at our shows is very, very rare. I'm very well aware of how blessed I am, and I definitely don't take it for granted. So I appreciate everybody that helps make the CWC successful.
Yep. So so you just named a couple of big wrestlers in your league that were headliners at the time. Are they still with the CWC, or they're with another league right now?
Nope. So they're still with us. They wrestle all the time with us, but we're not exclusive. We don't sign our talent to any exclusive contracts or anything like that. Our talent is 100% free to work with whoever they want. Doesn't matter the standings they have with our promotion. It's all about them getting that bread. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys are trying to make a living doing this thing. These guys and girls are breaking their backs. You know what I mean? Taking these bumps every single night. Like, who am I to tell them who they can and can't work with? But all those people still work with us to this day. As a matter of fact, we got a big show coming up on July 27th. And I promised the people on the Facebook that I would give you the breaking scoop, man. Right here, breaking news. The main event, you're hearing it first. The main event for July 27th, CWC presents Gotta Catch 'Em All at the Hillside Community Center. Two of the most charismatic individuals on the scene today will be wrestling for the #1 contendership at the CWC champion. The winner will get a shot at the champion, Sam Stackhouse, at the October show. The competitors will be Manny Lemons and Bruce Waynes. So the king of the lemonade stand versus the final boss, one-on-one. Winner faces Stackhouse for the strap.
All right, all right. You guys make sure you tune in to that. I got some highlights I want to go ahead and get into. That'll put me right into. You guys make sure you stay with me too, Chad. You guys make sure you hit that subscribe button. I don't own the rights to this video or the music. We have our guest here, the CEO of CWC Wrestling. That's Colorado Wrestling Connection, okay? Let's go ahead and get into this clip, and we'll be right back. Stay with me, Chad.
Yes, sir.
Into that corner. You see Marlon? Oh my God! He's playing across the ring like he was playing for Hunter do what Hunter was not paying attention there.
Ladies and gentlemen, this match has been ruled a no contest. No, 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 no. No, no, no. This is not how the first CWC show is going to go. I knew putting 4 monsters in the ring could have repercussions. Fortunately, I have a plan B. Please welcome your special guest enforcer.
Chongo. 1, 2, Chongo's coming for you.
Now, the active referee for your main event, the Limb Reaper, Chongo Bronson.
Chongo.
Yes, capital to see you all again. Can I get some waste management people down here? Hello, darlings. Wow, this is quite a main event. What's up, fellas? Are you guys ready for the main event? Wait. Chongo might be wearing rose-colored glasses, but it feels like it's missing something. Hang on. Would you mind, good sir?
Yes, he's wearing
running into him. He was already unconscious.
I hope it's his size.
Man, neither.
Yes, sir. Hey, you remember that?
Oh, yeah, bro. That was the match I was talking about. That was literally the 4-way I was talking about right before we went to break. That's too funny.
Yep. So just talk about that day again, man. What was so different? And talk about the importance of the referee in wrestling.
Yeah, man. So I mean, that the referee that got knocked out in that match, Robert Buster, he's my head official, actually. In my opinion, again, one of the absolute best referees you're going to find anywhere on the United States independent scene. Absolutely works his ass off. He can Iron Man a show. He'll ref all 10 matches if he has to. Really, really, really great referee. But yeah, what we did there was just like, we had four uncontrollable monsters there. So we had a little we wrote it into the thing where the referee was going to go down into the match, and then I'm pulling back the curtain here, and then we'd have one of the other known workers on the scene come out and take it out just to add to the mix, to make it more special. Because again, at the time we thought it was just going to be a one-off. So
yeah, man, that's great. So right now, do you have a tour going on?
So we don't necessarily have a tour going on, but we've got we're booked out for the rest of the year. We're going to be working again in October and again in December, and then obviously all throughout next year and everything. But the big thing that we've got going on is we'll be running WrestleMania weekend in Vegas. So that'll be our first out-of-state show, and it'll realistically be one of the biggest shows that we ever really run. Everybody always wants to run WrestleMania weekend. It's a great opportunity to showcase your brand. Essentially what happens during WrestleMania weekend is they run, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, the 2 nights of WrestleMania, all in the same city. All the tapings are held in the same city. So most people that go to WrestleMania buy tickets to all of those events, and they're hanging out in the town throughout that whole week. So what all the independent companies do when they can is try to descend on that city and try and run and, capitalize on that exposure from out-of-state eyes. So
I understand. Yeah. Yep. So right now, you said you got something going on July. What's that? 27th or July 12th?
July 27th.
Yep.
July 27th. That's our next show. It'll be a really fun show too. It's a Comic-Con / pro wrestling kind of event. So we're bringing in vendors from all across Colorado. They'll be selling, trading cards, comic books, collectibles. We'll have various artists there, and I think we're gonna have a couple of voice actors there as well. So it's gonna be a really fun time.
Is there a link available, or where can people buy tickets to go see that?
Yeah, if you check us out on Facebook, Colorado Wrestling Connection, definitely some links on there. I post on there every single day. If you start following that, you'll definitely never miss out on any of our shows.
Okay, cool. So who was your favorite wrestler growing up?
Man, I had so many favorite wrestlers. But when I was a little kid, my favorite wrestler was Rob Van Dam. He was my guy. I was obsessed with like the ECW style of wrestling, and when he came over to WWE, I was already a big fan of the Intercontinental division, that like working class mid card division. So he was always my guy.
Okay, cool. And when was your first show that you went to as a kid?
My first show that I ever went to actually wasn't until college, man. My parents never took me to any shows. Shame on them. They took my brothers a couple of times, but they never took your boy. But yeah, my first show wasn't until college. I went to a promotion called 3XW. They run out of Des Moines, Iowa. I think they run all over Iowa now. They've actually really blown up. But yeah, that was my first show I ever saw. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure a young Seth Rollins was on that show as Tyler Black at the time. And great promotion.
Oh man, that's wonderful. So what are you most excited about going to Vegas this year?
Man, just to getting the exposure, you know what I mean? Getting our name out there, getting our brand out there. It's a independent wrestling promoter's dream to run WrestleMania weekend. You know what I mean? I really don't think that that's an overstatement at all. It's really a dream come true. And the only reason I was able to do this was through some of the connections I'd made earlier on in my wrestling career and stuff like that. So again, like the level of how blessed I am is definitely not lost on me. I can't thank. I mean, you know who you are. That helped me get that booking, and I just can't thank them enough, man.
Yeah, no problem. So if someone wanted to reach out and become a wrestler, become a part of, an athlete in your organization, what do they have to do in order to qualify for that?
Yeah, I mean, they got to be fully trained for sure. You know what I mean? Obviously, if they have pre-extensive training with any other wrestling schools, you submit a resume just like you would for any job. And you would just kind of say, hey, I was trained by this person. These are the notable matches I've had. They usually submit some wrestling, some like YouTube clips of previous matches they've had. But if you have no experience at all and you want to break into the business, a couple places that I recommend for sure are the Butcher Shop. That's the home for all the premier pro wrestling athletes. They run a school out in Denver, Colorado called the Butcher Shop. I truly believe that they are one of the best professional wrestling schools running anywhere in the United States, let alone in the Colorado region. They bring in amazing athletes for seminars. They had seminars from Toxin recently. I could list 100 names that they've had in there. They have seminars every single month. Very, very much recommend the Butcher Shop.
I understand. That's great. And as far as Colorado Springs, do you have like all the home events there, or do you take it somewhere else in Colorado as well, like Denver or different cities?
As of right now, we're just running in the Springs. We're looking at other cities. We're not really looking to run in Denver particularly. Denver's very, I don't want to say saturated, more so spoiled than anything. They already have like 5 or 6 active promotions that run, so there's a show for them every single weekend, you know. So I'm trying to bring it more maybe towards like Pueblo or the Fountain region, or maybe up in the mountain towns too. Me and a good friend of mine actually went and saw AEW recently in Loveland. And I thought for sure they weren't going to draw anybody. I'm like, who's in Loveland is going to be a wrestling fan? And I went around doing my little promoter spiel, talking to all the different fans in the stadium, thinking that they were all going to be commuting up from the Springs in Denver. And man, 90% of the people we talked to were from Loveland, and they don't have any independent wrestling there. So, you know, we might be coming soon to Loveland.
There you go, man. It's a recipe right there waiting for you. So,
Right.
So let's talk about, right now. You got events planned for the weekend in the Springs, or is this weekend just full of training?
Nothing crazy going on until the 27th. That'll be our next event. We only run by month.
Okay.
So every other month we're, like I said, we try to do the super show mentality. So I usually need a month or so to buffer so I can afford some of these top name talents, you know?
No problem. No problem. So if anybody wanted to get some merch from you guys, CWC t-shirts, coffee mug, or anything, you have a website or a store they can get that from?
Yeah, Pro Wrestling Tees / Colorado Wrestling Connection. That's where you can get our t-shirts for sure. And we're also going to be having a line of trading cards. We've already released the prototype cards. They sold out with the very first wave, but we'll be having some more of those dropping soon. And when we do, we'll be posting a link to those on our Instagram and our Facebook, just Colorado Wrestling Connection for both of those as well.
Cool. So what is your message to the youth?
Yeah, man, just my biggest message to the youth is just never doubt yourself, man. Never think your dreams are too crazy. Never, as we say, book yourself into a corner, man. You know, like you can achieve anything that you want to as long as you put it out into the universe. It becomes obtainable. The more you put it out there and the more believable you make it, the more easier it is to achieve.
I understand. Any shout outs, anybody you like to thank along your journey to coming up with this idea and sticking with the whole wrestling from day one and end up becoming an owner?
Yeah, I mean, my girl for sure. She puts up with me, you know, being on the road and traveling. And at one point in time, I was ring announcing for probably 4 or 5 different companies, man. And I mean, I was home for like 5 or 6 hours at a time on the weekends, you know, and she was putting up with it and supporting me every step of the way. So a huge shout out to my lady, Kayla. She's really been the biggest person that supported me throughout my journey. And then my mom and dad, they never, you know, no matter how many times I would come with a sliced open head or broken leg or something like that from doing crazy backyard stuff, they never told me to stop watching that wrestling or anything. They always supported me and never hindered it or anything like that. So those people really, really helped me achieve it for sure.
And that's great. Do you watch any other sports other than wrestling?
Oh man, I'm just a diehard wrestling fan. I watch it basically 24/7 every single day. I follow everything from the smallest independent organization to the most obscure Japanese independent promotions you're ever going to find. It's really all I watch other than like Star Wars.
No problem. All right, man. Well, we appreciate you coming on the show, Chad. Thanks for letting everybody know the background and giving them all the advice and also the links where they can follow you. Let them know your social media handles for your wrestling organization and yourself.
Yeah, so you can find the wrestling organization at Colorado Wrestling Connection on all platforms, X, Instagram, Facebook. You can find my personal on Facebook at Chad Kalina. And you can find my cannabis shenanigans on Instagram at the Herbal Show 710.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on the show. For everybody that's watching, make sure you subscribe, share, like, comment, and let everybody know you just tuned into a new edition of the Sports Shop 27. Type 1 Warrior says, love you, Chad.
One of my workers, man. Yeah, he's a great kid for sure. He's killing it over there in BPW these days. But yeah, he's absolutely amazing person. Love that guy.
Make sure you hit
He's
that
actually
subscribe.
he actually designed a lot of our belts. Did Type 1, designed several of our championship belts. Yeah.
And we appreciate you tuning in, bro. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll do the same. Hey, man, Chad, hey, I got to get up with you. I know you're on the road. You're busy. You're traveling right now. Appreciate you taking some time out on your trip to come on the show. We'd love to have you back on and follow some of these events and try to get more people and more viewership, okay?
Absolutely, man.
Hey, all right, man. Whenever you're in South Carolina, just hit me up, and then I'll do the same.
Yes, sir. Whenever you're in my neck of the woods, you hit me up, bro.
All right, man. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. You subscribe, hit that subscribe button. You just tune in and watch another edition of the Sports Shop 27. I'm your host, Jermaine Coulter. Once again, I'd like to thank my special guest, Mr. Chad Kalina, all right, CEO of CWC Wrestling. That's Colorado Wrestling Connection, all right? If you know, you know. Let's go ahead and do this thing, man, and stay blessed. And, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. All right.
That's right.
Well, see you later, Chad, man. Appreciate it. You be safe on the road.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
All right.